Hello? My name is Joanne, and welcome to Fear Lounge. If you're a fan of the haunting, the mysterious, the perilous, and of true crime, then this channel is for you. At the moment, this is a very new channel, and we're still trying to find our stride. With that said, we hope that you choose to support us by liking the video and subscribing. We appreciate it. Lastly, since transparency is important, we want our listeners to know that we use an enhanced version of ChatGPT to aid us in our research and script writing. We also employ AI-generated narrations from an up-and-coming company called malevolent.ai. Because we understand the importance of quality, we only use the best in the industry and work closely with the developer by providing feedback so they can keep increasing the quality. Please let us know how we can improve. Each comment is valued. From the voracious Wendigo to the formidable Hydra, mythical creatures have stirred fear and fascination for centuries, transcending cultures worldwide. Each culture crafts its own monstrous entity, embodying collective fears and nightmares. These mythological beings are not mere figments of imagination, but reflections of our deepest anxieties. The tales handed down through generations, showcasing brave heroes vanquishing these beasts, are not just mere folklore. They represent our ancestors' yearning to exert dominance over a world that often seemed vast and daunting. This fascination with ancient monsters and their conquerors is a trait that remains ingrained in us, undiminished by time. We find ourselves equally captivated by these legendary beings and the valiant figures who triumphed over them. The following accounts introduce both familiar and obscure mythical entities, each accompanied by chilling legends that might be entirely new to some, extending the boundaries of our imagination and fear. In the eerie silence of the 17th century, a group of Jesuit missionaries ventured from France to the New World. Tasked with spreading their faith, these men, bound by their vows and a sense of divine mission, embarked on a journey to the unknown. Their destination was the land of the Algonquin, a Native American tribe residing in the dense, shadowy forests along the Ottawa River. These woods, shrouded in mist and mystery, were far removed from the familiarity of their European homelands, a realm where legend and reality often intertwined, setting the stage for a tale of horror and bewilderment. Upon their arrival, the Jesuit missionaries were met with a sight that defied all belief. The men they were sent to replace, once devoted servants of God, had succumbed to an unspeakable transformation. They had become cannibals, a nightmare that was beyond the comprehension of their fellow brethren. Yet, for the Algonquin tribe, this was a horror they knew intimately. These men, they proclaimed, were under the curse of the Wendigo. The Wendigo, a ghastly entity in Algonquin lore, roamed the lands near the Great Lakes. These creatures were the epitome of famine and desperation. Emaciated to the bone, their skeletal figures were a grotesque display of starvation. Ribs protruded sharply beneath their pallid, stretched skin, and their eyes, hollow and deep-set, mirrored the visage of the dead, as if they had clawed their way out of the grave. These beings were driven by an insatiable hunger. With each act of cannibalism, the Wendigo grew in size and hunger, transforming into a monstrous giant, a ghastly specter looming over the forest canopy. In this twisted existence, their hunger was a curse that knew no end, driving them to perpetually hunt and consume, forever trapped in their ravenous state. The Algonquin tribe was adamant in their belief. These missionaries had undergone a ghastly metamorphosis into Wendigos, beginning a spree of terror among their own kind. This phenomenon was not new to the tribe. It was a recurring nightmare, especially during the harsh famines of bitter winters. The tribe, in their wisdom, had developed rituals to combat this terror. They would convene in grand festivals, their dances and chants echoing through the cold air, a collective effort to ward off the menacing presence of the Wendigo. To the Algonquin, the concept of the Wendigo offered a semblance of understanding, a way to rationalize the descent into madness and cannibalism that hunger could drive in even the most virtuous men. It transformed an incomprehensible tragedy into a narrative they could grasp, a tale of how extreme deprivation could twist humanity into something unrecognizable, something as chilling as the Wendigo. In 19th century Canada, the Wendigo held much more significance for the Algonquin tribe than a mere ethereal being confined to folklore. For reasons unknown, going Wendigo, as it's called, became somewhat of a pandemic. Nothing sounds scarier than a cannibal pandemic, except possibly a zombie pandemic, which basically features the same result. It embodied a palpable terror that could insidiously grip one's psyche, enticing them towards the unthinkable act of cannibalism. This era was plagued by numerous chilling incidents, retrospectively identified by modern psychology as instances of Wendigo psychosis. In the midst of them all, the tale of Swift Runner, a Cree man, emerges with a particularly grim and haunting narrative. Originally known as Ka-Kisi Kuchin, Swift Runner was once a respected and towering figure in the Cree community of Alberta, standing over 6 feet tall. His life revolved around his family of 6 children and his roles as a trapper and a guide for the Northwest Mounted Police. However, a descent into alcoholism marked a tragic turn in his life. Swift Runner's increasing dependence on whiskey, speculated to be due to his diminished hunting skills, spiraled into violence and anger. This destructive path led to his dismissal from the police force and eventual ostracization from his tribe. In the winter of 1878, a fateful decision was made. Swift Runner led his wife, 6 children, mother-in-law, and brother into the depths of the forest. Months later, as the thaw of spring set in, he re-emerged alone, stumbling into a nearby Catholic mission. Confronted by the priests, Swift Runner delivered a chilling declaration. His entire family was dead. Swift Runner's tale took a darker turn during that winter. He claimed a desperate struggle for survival, with each of his relatives succumbing to starvation. However, the priests harbored doubts. Swift Runner's own well-fed appearance raised questions. Why hadn't he shared the same fate if food was scarce? This skepticism was fueled by reports of other Cree who had fared well in hunting that season. Adding to the priest's concerns were Swift Runner's haunting nightmares, where he would wake, screaming in terror. The tipping point came when Swift Runner attempted to lead a group of children into the forest, echoing a sinister pattern. Convinced of foul play, the priests alerted the authorities, arrested and coerced to lead them to his family's winter campsite. Swift Runner's actions were erratic. Some accounts suggest he led them straight there, while others imply deceit, claiming he only cooperated when intoxicated. Regardless of the path taken, the sight they discovered was macabre beyond words, sealing Swift Runner's grim fate. At the campsite, a scene of horror unfolded. Bones littered the ground, many snapped and hollowed, a grim indication of marrow being extracted and consumed. This ghastly suspicion turned to certainty with the discovery of a pot brimming with human fat. In his defense, Swift Runner resorted to claiming possession by a Wendigo spirit, insisting this malevolent force drove him to murder and cannibalize his family. However, this supernatural explanation found no credence with the authorities. At his 1879 trial, the jury quickly dismissed his claims, convicting Swift Runner after just 20 minutes of deliberation. He was sentenced to death, becoming the first man legally executed in Alberta, Canada. On December 20th, 1879, moments before his execution, Swift Runner, having converted to Catholicism, confessed to his heinous crimes, a final admission of guilt before meeting his fate on the gallows. The execution of Swift Runner drew a sizable crowd, among whom was a particularly notable spectator. This individual, having witnessed 29 hangings, was no stranger to such grim events. Yet, this execution struck a different chord, leaving a lasting impression. As this seasoned observer of executions later described, the scene that unfolded at Swift Runner's hanging was unlike any he had witnessed before. He remarked,
"It was the prettiest hanging I've ever seen."
As our journey through the chilling lore of the Wendigo comes to an end, we are left to ponder the depths of human fear and depravity These stories of the Wendigo, whether you believe it exists or view it as nothing but a myth born of superstitions from a bygone era, encapsulate the struggle for survival, the darkness of desperation, and the profound impact of folklore on our understanding of the natural and supernatural world. Most importantly, it stands as a stark reminder of the thin line between man and monster, especially in times of dire need. Thank you for joining us on this eerie exploration. If you found yourself captivated by the haunting tale of the Wendigo, please consider giving us a like and subscribing to our channel for more fascinating dives into the myths and legends that lurk in the shadows of our world. Your support helps us continue to bring these ancient stories to life. Until next time, keep your curiosity alight, but tread carefully into the unknown.